Love Your Life. Love Your Life. Love Your Life, a show like no other, one that aims to inspire you to live a life you love. Choosing to be positive and having a grateful attitude is going to determine how you're going to live your life. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love your day. Love your day. Love your life. Love your life. Love your life.
Love Your Life, prepared and presented by Sayyida Mayya Al Said.
Love your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon you all this fine, beautiful day. So, this is Love Your Life. This is your host, Mayya Al Said, also known as the Sewist. I am a life coach at Whispers of Serenity. So, if you're wondering what the topic is today, if you've been listening from yesterday, you would know that today's topic is Be an Inspiration. May I remind you that this is a live show, starts at 2:30, finishes at 3:30. You are more than welcome to join me and my guest, which I'll introduce in a minute, on the discussions today by calling 24 60 20 58, 24 60 20 58, and we have Frank there who will be more than happy to transfer your calls. Just a reminder to only call me when it is safe to do so. As much as we would love for you to call us, your safety and the safety of others around you are important. So you're probably wondering who's sitting with me today. Today I have the honor of having Mutassem Sharji with me. Thank you so much, Mutassem, for being part of today's show.
You're most welcome.
So, as you know, I've invited you to talk about how to be an inspiration or be an inspiration. So, before we dig into that, I'd really love to know more about you, and so will my listeners. So, please introduce yourself.
Okay, this is a very tough question.
I know.
Because I find it quite tough to actually introduce myself because I do lots of things at the same time. And one of the things that I would say made me who I am today is one question that kept on coming back to me for the past 15 years.
Which is?
That is, why do some people thrive and others don't, despite being in the same environment?
Yes.
This particular question has, I would say, has driven me to read and research and explore the areas of philosophy, of psychology, of personal development, of social sciences, economics, finance, all of these different areas. And all trying to find out the fundamentals of this difference, why some people thrive and others don't. And because of that, I believe I have the passion to seek knowledge and to share knowledge, which led me as well to start my own initiative, the Enriching Experience.
MashaAllah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, which is... it basically started with a simple idea of having a discussion circle where I invite people to discuss certain topics based on their choice. So we have a WhatsApp group, and each session there's a person who's going to be the chairperson, suggesting 3 topics, and then the group decides which topic to discuss next. And we have certain values that we abide by in the meeting to ensure that discussion is actually fruitful and not a debate.
Yes.
Is the sole idea is share and seek knowledge, nothing more than that.
And to know that even if you have a difference of opinion doesn't mean it's a bad thing. On the contrary, it adds more value to the topic being discussed. Exactly.
And with time, some unintentional objectives were obtained as well. Like the ability to express oneself, as well as the ability to accept others' opinions despite differences. Yeah.
Yes, because sometimes we get in a discussion and all we want is to convince the other person. And, I think the aim is to show another point of view, not necessarily convince. Convince, you do that on your own if you're convinced by the facts and the points raised. But it's not my job to convince you. Exactly. And with the knowledge that humans are so complex, you tend to become more tolerant as you grow older, realizing that lots of your opinions are not truths. It's just opinions. Sahih. That's so true. So is this still continuing?
It's still continuing, yes.
I remember watching a video of you and I think on Hatim's show, Potential, and you said it's every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
So it still continues, mashallah?
It still continues, yes.
The whole purpose of creating this was to share knowledge?
Yes.
And seek knowledge?
Seek knowledge. That's the ultimate aim of it. And people who join it, it's not for everyone. Some people might not enjoy the vibe, but those who enjoy it actually feel that it's really beneficial to them. And
if so, what are the criteria? For example, if one of our listeners or myself, I wanted to join, how would how would we do that?
Love to share knowledge and love to seek knowledge. And just contact us on our social media page.
That's excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Which you will probably want to share at some point, maybe at the end. And also it will be up on probably my blog, since I have a guest, and we can share all the information.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so back to the topic. What does inspiration mean to you, Mutassem?
Okay, personally, I'm going to share the philosophy of one of my all-time mentors, Dr. John DeMartini. Basically, there's the idea of inspiration and there's the idea of motivation. The idea is that motivation mostly comes from the outside.
Okay.
Inspiration comes from within.
Really? I would have thought the other way around.
Yeah.
I thought I would be motivated and I would be inspired by the outer.
It's the idea behind this is, with motivation, you need some outside force to tell you that this is important.
And to push me to
do
towards the change. Okay?
Exactly. And it's short term. If you get into a seminar, you get into a conference, and the person is very motivational and he motivates you to become a millionaire, but as soon as you leave that venue or that conference or that seminar and you don't do anything about it, it means that you're motivated, you're not inspired.
Yes.
Inspiration comes from within.
Okay.
You don't need some outside motivation to tell you what to do, and it's really important to you.
Okay.
That's the difference between those two terms, the way I see it.
First of all, I always thought motivation and inspiration was kind of the same thing, because when you're inspired, you're motivated to do something. But now you're telling me motivation is from the exterior, even though it's short term, and inspiration is from within.
From within, yes. And inspiration is congruent with what's really important to you.
Okay.
That's really important, because motivation might not be. You might have a very motivational boss who might motivate you to do your work, and you're motivated to do the job, but as soon as the boss is gone,
I'm back to my old self.
Exactly.
Just a reminder that this is a live show. You're more than welcome to join us on the discussion by calling 2460 2058, 2460 2058. Today's topic is Be an Inspiration with my guest, Mutassem Sharji. To me, inspiration is hope. Is to know that, especially seeing other people as an inspiration to me, because here, although you're saying it's inwards, for me, it's okay. Maybe my motivation is others, seeing other people succeed. It gives me hope to follow my dreams.
I mean, what you shared now exactly. It's aligned with the idea I'm sharing.
I'm that good then.
There is an additional point on this as well.
Okay.
And that is, whatever we see outside of us, whether we see it as something that's positive or something that's negative, it actually exists within us. Here's the point.
Okay.
Here's the point. If you see someone who's really authentic,
all right,
and you get inspired by that authenticity, you're only being inspired by that authenticity because you have it within you.
Okay.
Nevertheless, at that moment, you're too humble to admit that you have that authenticity within you.
Subhanallah. So if I break it down, I'm only inspired or motivated for something that is already in me, but I don't realize it until I see it and it mirrors what I already have internally.
Exactly. Until someone else tells you, okay, you have that as well. I see that in you. And that's when you realize that you actually have it.
Okay, mashallah.
And on the other token, which is the negative side that most people don't talk about, is that any trait that you see in the people that you despise, it actually exists within you as well.
No way, really?
Yes. But you're too proud to admit that it exists.
Okay. But it doesn't work as the same way, yani. Okay, now you're telling me it's the same thing, though.
It's the same thing, exactly.
So this is the positive side and this is the negative side. But
yeah.
Hopefully we try and direct ourselves and other people listening to focus on the positive, not on the negative.
Yes, I mean, one way to do that is to list. One of the exercises I did a while back is that I listed down all the people that inspired me since I was a child.
MashaAllah, you went through the whole
list of people.
Wow.
And then after doing that, I think it was around 17 people. And then after doing the 17, I listed down the traits of each one.
The one that inspired you.
Exactly. So let's take for example Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Humility was one of the things.
Yes.
Authenticity is definitely one of the things. Having a purpose, having a message, having a cause, compassion, all of these different values. I listed them down. And then I did the same thing with all the 16 different personalities.
Mashallah.
And then what I did is I circled the ones that are most repetitive.
Okay.
And these are the ones that are
reside in you.
Exactly. They're the things that I most value.
Wow, mashallah. That's an exercise I think we should all do if we are, especially for people who don't know or who want to find out what resides in them. So there's an exercise for you. Thank you so much, Mutassem, for sharing that. With that, we'll take a short break and come back to you in a second. Don't go anywhere.
This Ramadan, get inspired to be healthy and get all your health questions cleared with Dr. Ali Alawati on radio, Sultan of Oman, from 4 o'clock to 5 p.m. Join us on Health Talk. Ramadan Mubarak.
Initialize sequence now.
Join Oman Radio's big time giveaway this Ramadan and win a Lexus GS350 on the last day. It's so easy to join. Just send SMS with your full name to 90465 and be the lucky one to bring home a brand new Lexus GS350. The more you send, the more chances of winning. Oman Radio's big time giveaway this Ramadan. Join now. Ramadan Mubarak.
Join us and our Ramadan chef every day from 3:30 to 4 p.m. during the holy month of Ramadan and experience flavors from around the world. Enjoy different flavors from around the world.
Exciting. Yummy.
An edgy rainbow.
Ramadan recipes. Keep your pens and papers ready. We take you around the world with different mouth-watering dishes.
I love that.
Absolutely saucy.
Have a little dessert at the end too, because you get to learn the recipes of every dish that's been set up.
So all of that combined, there you go.
With me, June Yogesh, assisted by Huda Sultan Al Zakwani.
Love your life. Love your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for tuning in to Oman FM. This is your host Mayya Al Said with your program Love Your Life. And today I have a special guest with me, the first guest on the show, Mutassem Al Sharji. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure and duty.
First of all, I want to congratulate Mutassem. He just became a father. He is now Abu Wujud. فتتربى في عزكم إن شاء الله.
Ameen, ameen.
And welcome to the club. It's a beautiful journey. Parenting is a beautiful gift, so enjoy every second of it.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you.
So our topic for today is Be an Inspiration. May I remind you that this is a live show. You're more than welcome to join us on the discussions today by calling 2460 2058, 2460 2058. Only call us when it is safe to do so. So prior to the break, we were talking about the inspiration and what inspires some of us. And also now we'll talk about why. Why should we want to be inspired? Or let me rephrase that. Why should we want to be an inspiration to others? What do you think, Mutassem?
I think that is one of the things that makes us human.
In what way?
I mean, as humans, there is one thing that is concerning almost all of us, and that is the idea of mortality.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of one day we'll leave this earth, and we question ourselves, will we be remembered in any way?
Yeah, that's very deep, by the way.
Yeah. So it's a question that's concerning humanity for thousands of years.
Mm.
Now, the thing is, with humans, we share something with animals, and that is the ability to mate and reproduce.
Yes.
And that doesn't make us any unique.
True.
You see, it's something that's given. We have it within us. I mean, most humans can do it. So we tend to look for something else as a legacy to leave after we leave this earth. And whether that legacy is a business, whether it's an intellectual thought, whether it's a spiritual movement, whether it's a social movement, whether it's anything.
something to leave our fingerprint behind.
Exactly.
To be remembered by.
Exactly. And in order to leave that legacy, being an inspiration is, I would say, the highest form of drivers for human behavior.
But I think, not many people realize that they have the potential to be inspirational. They think that only certain people in the world, maybe the ones who are well known because they've done a big difference, are the ones that can be inspirational. But when they look at themselves, they don't see that they can do anything. They can leave any fingerprint, as we just talked about.
Yeah. I mean, I just shared the idea of mating and reproducing.
Yes.
What are the chances of a human being coming to existence? 1 to 200 million. There's 200, on average, there's 200 million sperms are competing for that egg to come to this life.
Yeah.
And that's you, that's us, that's each and every one of us.
Yes.
So whether there is meaning behind it or whether there's no meaning behind it, I mean, it's what are the odds?
That's for us to decide. We know our sole purpose, of course, of being created is to be a servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our faith is what guides us. But then there's also the life that we live, the choices that we make in our life.
Exactly.
And as you said, it is up to us, because I always say on this show, it is our choice, up to us to live a life that we will be remembered by. Even if it is only just the family members, even if nobody knows about it, just the fact that somebody was inspired by whatever it is that you did, that is worth being inspiration.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, it could be in any area of life.
True.
There's no right and wrong. To some people, it's just family. Family, that's the biggest inspiration, and that's where their biggest dedication is. To others, it's business, and there's no right and wrong. And just to share an example on this is, if you look at the leadership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you would see that he was very wise in this aspect, that he actually leveraged on his companions in the areas that are really important to them. He did not force the businessmen to do something else.
Subhanallah.
He allowed them to be businessmen and serve the state or the Islamic nation back then through their business. And the same thing goes to those who are interested in intellectual growth, those who are interested in social. He let them be in their area and serve the state through their passion and through their what's really important to them.
So as you're saying, the message you're trying to get across is you can be inspirational in any area, and that area can be unique to you. It can affect one person, it can affect 500, 5 billion, whatever it is. It's your choice and how you take that message forward.
Exactly. And just to add on this point as well is that the size of your cause, you decide it.
Okay.
We have the choice to decide on the size of our cause. For example, if you're a person who is inspired by serving the family, okay, your family could be a small, like 5 members, 10 members, whatever it is. You decide the size of that. Nevertheless, maybe your learning experiences, your knowledge in that area could be inspiring other people to take care of their families. So the size of your cause is solely yours to decide.
SubhanAllah, such a beautiful reminder that it is always up to us on anything that we choose to do in our life. Just a reminder that you're more than welcome to join Mutassem and I on our discussion today on being an inspiration by calling 24 60 20 58, 24 60 20 58. Just so Frank pick up the phone. We have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Dr. Mukhtar?
Yes, I'm Dr. Mukhtar. Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah. What are your thoughts, Dr. Mukhtar?
Yeah, it's another interesting topic has been put forward by you.
Thank you very much. With the help of my guest, mashallah alayhi,
he's
been very
especially
valuable.
It has become more interesting when two persons, they think differently about inspiration and motivation.
Yes.
One thinks it's internal, other thinks it's external. I mean, it has really opened up the discussion more.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, and I would like to say that I am trying to make best use of your shows by making some notes.
Really? You're taking notes?
On my iPhone. Yeah.
I am honored.
Because in this way I can go back at any time to review what things.
And you do know that the episodes are uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
so
I do check
you're
that.
more than welcome to listen to them at your leisure.
So for the topic, I guess the inspiration or motivation, actually, these are the reasons to do things. And these are the soft skills which a person acquire. could be external or internal. For me, I think external inspiration or motivation is like external forces. It could be rewards, it could be like increased salaries or anything. Internal inspiration is far better than the external because it's like a satisfaction. Mm-hmm. It's a passion, and some people say that passion is equal to profession.
Okay.
So for me, internal inspiration is for better, and it creates a flow within you to do more work. Mm-hmm. And the second thing I want to add is that I think one needs to be above being just himself or herself in order to inspire others. His own status, condition, problems, they should not be hurdles or excuses not to impact, influence, or motivate others. Like I see yourself, Mayya Al Said, is an inspirational person right now, who despite being a single mom of 2 girls, she's doing an excellent job. She's influencing, she's motivating the society, she's delivering her knowledge and utilizing her skills to uplift society positively.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
So I think that's all I need to add to your topic.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukhtar.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Ma'as-salama. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mukhtar, as always, for your contribution to Love Your Life. It seems you're a regular on the show, and I'm so honored to have you. Another thing about inspiration is, I realized it's a way to realize if somebody can do it, so can I. I'm not limited by anything but myself. We tend to put these certain limits, or we might compare ourselves to others, saying, okay, they might want to do something that I want to do, but they failed, therefore I will fail. What are your...
I think I always go back to this same idea. I mean, I think you noticed by now that I expressed the word authenticity more than once.
Yes.
And coincidentally, it's not coincidence actually, the exercise I shared earlier of the 17 people that inspired me, the word authenticity was the one that's most repetitive. So to me personally, I might be biased by this idea, but I believe it goes back to being authentic, being original, being you, and if other people failed in something, and there's a very beautiful statement mentioned by Henry Ward Emerson, the American philosopher. He said, envy is ignorance, and imitation is suicide.
Envy is ignorance.
Yes.
And imitation
is suicide. Let me elaborate on this statement. It's quite deep. Yeah. He says, by saying envy is ignorance, if at any point you are envious of another person, you are being ignorant to what you really are. Okay? And in the same token, if you are imitating someone else, you're committing suicide to your own self.
Wow. That's, I need time for that to sink in. SubhanAllah, it's an eye-opener, and I'm so glad I have you on the show because you bring so much, you give another view, as Dr. Mukhtar said, and I really hope that people listen in and take in what you're saying, because today you've said so many deep things so far and we're only 20 minutes into the show. But with that, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Oman is a country full of treasures, from its people to its history, beaches to its mountains, deserts to its wadis. Show off your knowledge of this great country and win cash prizes with Talal this Ramadan on weeknights and Hafid every weekend from 10 p.m. to midnight. You can be a winner on Treasure Wadi.
Treasure Wadi.
Let the party begin.
Win cash prizes and surprises here on the Nation Station.
Love your life. Love your life. Welcome back to Your Nation Station. This is Mayya Al Said on your program Love Your Life, and I have a special guest with me today, Mr. Mutassem Sharji, Abu Wujud. Today we're discussing how to be an inspiration. So far, a very fruitful discussion, alhamdulillah. Just a reminder, you are more than welcome to join in on the discussion today by calling 2460 2058, 2460 2058. A reminder that this show is right up until 3:30 and will be repeated at 10 minutes after midnight. If you missed any of the past shows or you want to listen to this one again and take notes like Dr. Makhtar, you can do so by listening in onto the show on my YouTube channel, The Sewist. So, Mutassem, before the break, we were talking about why somebody would want to be an inspiration to others. The next question I have is how? Okay, we talked about why and the impact that we can have, but what about how? How can I inspire somebody?
I think inspiration is a byproduct.
Okay.
It could be an aim by itself, but let me give you an example. People like Steve Jobs, like Bill Gates, they just do things.
Okay.
They just have a mission and they're living their mission.
All right.
And by that, they became an inspiration to thousands, maybe millions of people.
So you're saying their goal was not to really be an inspiration. They were so focused in doing what they loved that because of that, they became an inspiration.
Exactly. To me personally, I used to think that inspiration is an end by itself, and
inspiration is
an end by itself, to be an inspiration to others. But then I realized what is it really that I'm inspiring people to be or to do, and it all went back to the idea of knowledge, of seeking knowledge and sharing knowledge. Because
to be an inspiration, or why I'd want to be one, first we have to think it's a very selfless act. You know, if you ask me, what am I going to get out of being inspiring? You already have the wrong mindset. Because to me, when you're inspiring, you give back. Whatever it is, knowledge, time, whatever it is, you just give. And it's all about giving, and the end product is, how can I make this person's life better? How can I have a positive impact? Not what am I going to get from it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's I mean, the payback will always happen.
But people don't see that. People want to know, you know, sometimes like you get into a business deal. Okay, we're going to do this deal. And at the end of it, or projected, whatever, 5-6 years, this is going to be my share. But when you are going to inspire somebody, of course, or somebody, or whatever thing you want to do, you can't think from the end. You think of the now and the future as to what the message is, what your cause is, as to how am I going to be an inspiration to somebody.
I mean, you just remind me of a story that happened to me a few years ago. I was traveling, I was backpacking actually in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos. And I went to a natural park in Thailand, and I was surprised that the natural park is so huge. Like, it was, I think, 17 kilometers in diameter.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. So I went there by a bus, and I bought the ticket. I went in, and as I was walking in, I saw that, no, this is not a normal park. It's a really huge park. It's a natural park, actually. And I didn't have a mode of transport. So I hitchhiked. There was a car coming in, and the car...
So you're talking within the park?
Within the park, yeah.
So you're supposed to go in, just in case I happen to be there one day, I'll remember this. So you're supposed to take a...
You're supposed to have a bike.
So you can go around, because you can't cover it by foot.
Yeah, or have a car or a bus that takes you around. So the bus takes you on to a few stops, and then you stop and you get off and you walk around. Exactly.
Okay.
And I didn't have that. I went on my own. I didn't go with any tour guide or anything. So I hitchhiked to the center of the park, and as I was walking around the center of the park, I met a French guy, and he asked me, how are you going around? I told him, I just hitchhiked with the car to the center of the park and have no mode of transport. He said, you're welcome to join me. I have a bike, and you can ride the bike with me, and we'll go around the park the whole day. And anyway, from 10 in the morning all the way to around 6 p.m., I was with this guy, complete stranger, and he was with me the whole day, and then he was kind enough to drop me home. And then by the end of the day, he told me actually that one of the reasons why I was inclined to help you is that he spent 2 weeks with villagers in Thailand, and he didn't pay any rent, and they fed him and they provided him with a place to sleep, just because he's a stranger. And then he wanted to pay them back in cash when he left, but they refused and said, "No, you're a guest, and it's on us." And then he said, "I made a decision to be kind to other people and to give back to other people."
So pay it forward. Do unto you. What's like? Do unto you what? No, that's the. No. Okay. Sorry, I had a different quote in mind. No, it's basically whatever people have done to you, just do it unto others.
Exactly.
No expecting not any payment or anything like that.
Yeah, and the same thing happened to the guy. I offered to pay for the fuel of the bike, but he refused. He said, "No, it's on me. I was going to pay for it anyway."
So then you got a bike, and then you saw a stranger, and you picked a stranger. You're doing the pay it forward. Such an inspiring story, and to show how the kindness of people can help change a life. So this French guy was probably inspired by these villagers.
Exactly.
That's where you're going with this, huh? So probably inspired by the villagers, and because of their act and the way they treated him, so he decided to follow on to that, and subhanallah, you got the benefits of that, alhamdulillah. Just a reminder that this is a live show. I am here with Mutassem Sharji on your show Love Your Life, talking about Be an Inspiration. You can join in on our discussion by calling 24 60 20 58, 24 60 20 58. So we're talking about how we can inspire. Similar to the story that you said about this French guy, it's, okay, he was inspired by them, but if he didn't have the passion, if he didn't have this motivation or inspiration, I don't know how to go about it with you now, to have this change, to impact, I believe it has to be part of you. It has to be something within you that pushes you, that inspires you to want to do that. If not, then it's, what do you think? I feel there's no real purpose. If there's no purpose, then what are you doing?
That's why I mentioned a while back that it all goes back to what clicks with you. I mean, watching, for example, a soccer player, if you're not into soccer, you might not be inspired.
Yes.
But if the person projects different values, additional values to soccer, that could inspire you, you feel, I'm inspired to do something. Something
that might resonate with me.
Exactly.
Then I think, oh, okay.
One good example on this is Muhammad Ali, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the greatest of all time in terms of boxing, but at the same time, he had some values and principles that he lived by. And these values and principles are what inspired people beyond the arena of boxing and sports. He inspires lots of people beyond the area of sports because of his values of justice, of peace, of equality, all of these values that he stood by at a very difficult time. And the same thing goes with different sports personalities. For example, Bruce Lee as well. Bruce Lee, maybe the first thing that comes to our mind is excellence, is striving to be an excellent sports person, and doesn't necessarily inspire you to become good at sports, but he inspires you to be excellent in your life.
Yes, to excel at what you do.
Exactly, yeah.
Subhanallah. And one of the best way to inspire people is something we touched upon earlier in the show, but it's something I think I want to reiterate again, which is to be authentic, to be true to yourself, because only by knowing who you are knowing who you are and accepting who you are in life, can you put yourself forward, be the best version you can be, and always be true to yourself.
And that's why there's an old Greek saying that says, know thyself.
Yes.
And there's a continuation for that. It's know thyself, and then be thyself, and then love thyself.
MashaAllah.
So it begins with knowing, and then so having the wisdom to know oneself.
Yes.
And then after that is the courage of being oneself, and that's only when you can authentically and originally love yourself.
That's so true. And I think many people, we might reach a stage that we know ourselves. But as you said, the word courage, am I courageous enough to show people out there, or even myself, okay, this is who I am? The thing is not only focusing on the good things about myself.
Exactly.
But even the bad things, not the bad things, but the imperfect things, because we are not born perfect, nor do we live in a perfect life. But we need to be okay with that and be able to love ourselves despite our imperfections.
Yes, definitely. I mean, and being vulnerable is one of the things that are actually inspiring people. If you see a person who's a celebrity, who's really famous, and who's a role model for many people, and expresses his vulnerability to others, people will love and appreciate that person more and see, okay, he's like us, like all of us. He has mistakes and he has imperfections.
True. Just a reminder that you're more than welcome to call us and join us on a discussion on Be an Inspiration on Love Your Life on your nation station by calling 24 60 20 58, 24 60 20 58. So we're talking about how, as a normal person like Mutassem and I, and you, the listener, how you can inspire. Be an inspiration person to everyone around you. We just said that you have to have a cause. You have to be true to yourself, and I think you have to be as well very honest and raw, in the sense that you say that you're going to do something, make sure you do it. People have to be relatable to you, have to trust you. And if you're just going to talk about doing things or being a certain way, but you're not living it, that sends the wrong message. And we have a caller. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, sister?
I am very well, thank you. How are you, my beloved Mayya?
Alhamdulillah. Who is on the line?
Your sister Al-Aziza, Adam.
Habibti Adam, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I thought I'd surprise you this afternoon.
Thank you. So what are your thoughts on being an inspiration?
I think it was a very interesting topic. I think it's not something you necessarily have to think about.
Okay.
I think with a lot of things that I think you have to look at is more about self-tuning instead of inspiring. Because when you want to inspire, I think normally that means you want to tell people how to live their lives or how to live a better life, when I think it's better if they kind of self-discover themselves first before you're able to inspire others.
Yeah, that's the point we were just discussing with Mutassem, how, it is in peril for you to know who you are, be okay with who you are, and have the courage to share your authenticity with everyone else.
Okay, sorry, I just tuned in. So
no problem. No problem. But thank you so much for that. Anything else you'd like to add?
I think everyone has to be patient with themselves, and I think try not to have so much of a measuring stick. It's not very easy. As you know, social media plays a very large part in our everyday lives today. Yeah. But I think if you kind of self-tune on a daily basis, I think you'll see little miracles happening within yourself.
Subhanallah.
And that will kind of transcend to the others automatically without you actually even noticing.
That's so true. Thank you very much for that insight, Adam.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your call. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. With that, caller from Adam, thank you so much. We'll just take a short break and we'll return in a moment. Thank you so much.
Join Oman Radio's Big Time giveaway this Ramadan and win a Lexus GS350 on the last day. It's so easy to join. Just send SMS with your full name to 90465 and be the lucky one to bring home a brand new Lexus GS350. The more you send, the more chances of winning. Oman Radio's Big Time giveaway this Ramadan. Join now. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ordering 4 shooters, 2 car, 3 land, 3 steak.
Join us and our Ramadan chef every day from 3:30 to 4 p.m. during the holy month of Ramadan and experience flavors from around the world. Enjoy different flavors from around the world.
Exciting. Yummy.
An edgy rainbow.
Ramadan recipes. Keep your pens and papers ready. We take you around the world with different mouth-watering dishes.
I love that.
Absolutely saucy.
Have a little dessert at the end too, because you get to learn the recipes of every dish that's been set up.
So all of that combined, there you go.
With me, June Yogesh, assisted by Huda Sultan Al Zakwani.
Love your life. Love your life. Welcome back to Your Nation Station. If you've just tuned in, this is Love Your Life with your host Mayya Al Said, also known as the Sewist on social media. Today I am joined in by a very inspirational guest, Mr. Mutassem Sharji, and we are talking about being an inspiration. And if you've missed part of the show, it will be repeated at midnight, 10 past midnight, I believe, and also will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, The Sewist, either today or tomorrow, inshallah. So, a reminder before we dig into the discussion that this is a live show. You're more than welcome to call us on today, to join us on today's discussion by calling 24 60 20 58, 24 60 20 58. So, Mutassem, you wanted to delve more on how important it is to be thyself. We did mention how important it is, but now you want us to really give us some insight on how we can be true to ourselves and our authenticity.
Yeah, I think before to some people being authentic, it's viewed as expressing your emotions as they come, which is not the case. I mean, as humans, we have the capability to control our emotions.
Yes,
emotions are there for a reason, and our intellect is there for a reason as well.
Yes.
So, to some people, being the idea of authenticity and the idea of freedom, of liberty, of doing as I feel, has been highly promoted by especially Western media. And I think the wrong message is being shared with people, especially the youngsters nowadays, especially with the exposure to social media and these ideals.
So you're saying the fact that being authentic is much more than saying this is who I am and this is the message, you take it or you leave it.
Exactly.
And even if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing, hello, this is me.
Exactly.
Right?
It's not that.
Yes.
And going back to the idea of authenticity and different values and principles, I used to look at them as separate values and principles.
Okay.
But quite recently, I started looking at them as a holistic system. It's not just independent. They're actually interdependent.
Okay.
For example, gratitude, authenticity, patience, all of these different values are interdependent to one another.
Yes.
For example, if I'm being overly authentic, I might be rude at the same time. So you must have the balance of all of these things.
Yeah, you must know how to... you must as well be able to know yourself so much that you know, okay, I'm doing too much of this now. I need to, be مثلا a bit more compassionate, have more empathy. But that takes a skill. You have to know yourself really well to be able to do that.
Definitely. I mean, just to share an idea on this, we talked about self-awareness a lot, and one of the methods that are I found them quite insightful in knowing oneself is to ask. There's lots of questions, but I will limit them to actually just 8 questions.
Okay. Just before you start, I just want to remind callers that you are callers. I want to remind listeners that you're more than welcome to join us on the discussion by calling 2460 2058, 2460 2058. And although this topic is be an inspiration, we're really focusing on this point, to be true to oneself, to be authentic, because without that, we cannot inspire. If we don't know who we are, what our values are, how essentially we can be ourselves, then what are we sharing with the world? So that's why I'm really interested to hear what you have to say on how we can find out our authenticity.
Yeah. For each question, you try to... So again, the list of questions I'm going to share are going to allow you to, or enable you to understand yourself more on what's really important to you.
Okay.
opposing to what is really important from society's perspective or from outside influences.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, there's two forces. There's inside forces and outside forces.
Yeah.
And if you're not aware, if you're not being clear with yourself, you might be kind of being overly influenced by the outside forces, and you won't be able to excel in this area because you're just trying to live up to the expectations of other people. So the idea behind it is to ask yourself the question is, how do you spend your time? If you're given free time, how do you spend it?
Most people will answer social media.
That's one indication.
Yes.
Okay. And then the second thing is, how do you spend your energy?
Okay.
For example, what wakes you up in the weekend early in the morning without having, for example, if I'm requested to go on a hiking trip on a weekend, I might refuse.
Yes.
I might feel too lazy to do it. But if I'm requested to deliver a workshop, I'll wake up and do it.
Because it's something that
really important to me.
Yes.
It's an opportunity for me to share knowledge and to interact with other people.
Okay.
So what areas of your life you feel that you have energy for?
Okay.
Is it social life? Is it sports? Is it whatever it is? There's an area that you always have some extra energy for.
And that usually, what wakes you up in the morning is usually what, as you said, is important to me. So again, by answering that question, it goes to answering what is important to me.
Exactly. I mean, and the answers of these questions will end up. Some of them will be repeated, and the ones that are most repeated are the ones that are really important to you.
So similar to the exercise you did by listing all the people who inspired you and all the traits.
Yes.
And then circling the ones that were very repetitive, told you about yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is another form of this, but this is more about personal priorities. What is really important to you? Is it money? Is it business? Is it family? Is it society? Is it knowledge? Is it physical exercise? Whatever it is. Okay. And this is a very good indication. The third question is, how do you spend your money? How do you spend your money? If you have extra cash, what do you do with it?
Okay.
Some people will spend it on their family.
Yes.
As soon as they have extra cash, they spend it on the family. To others, they spend it on books. As soon as they go to a bookstore, they have no control over spending on books.
Yeah.
To other people, interestingly, they have it on business.
Okay.
So even though having extra cash, they will reinvest that extra cash into the business. You see, so business is really important to them.
To them, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the most?
Subhanallah. Okay.
What
These
are
are
the things?
big questions,
Yeah.
Mutassem.
What are the things that you always think about? For example, if you're stuck in traffic, where does your mind always wanders? If you're stuck in a lecture that's really boring, where does your mind always wanders?
I'm so glad you people can't see what I look like now, because I look like, whoa.
Okay. And the fifth question is, what do you love talking about the most? What are the things that you're extrovert about?
Okay.
If you're in a social circle, and the topics that you always kind of direct the discussion towards.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, to me personally, it's things to do with human behavior, things to do with business, things to do with psychology. These are the things that are always kind of intellectual thoughts are always things that are always directing the conversation towards. Okay, and a couple of more questions. And what area of your life you always have plans and targets towards?
Okay, so he is thinking like the future.
The future, yes. You always think, okay, in the future, in 5 years' time, I'll have this, I'll have this, I'll have this. So any area that you're always consistently planning and having targets for are the areas that are really important to you. And sometimes you might have plans and targets that are not aligned with other answers that I've mentioned, of the questions I've mentioned, which could mean that you're allowing outside forces to influence your priorities. Okay. Last question is, what area of your life you're really disciplined in? To some people, they say, no, I'm not disciplined. I find very difficult to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But if you think hard, you'll find at least one or two areas of your life that you're really disciplined in. To some people, it could be, I have a friend of mine who's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, gym every day. That's commitment. To some people, it could be social.
Yes.
You see, I have another friend of mine. One day he came from Dubai, and he went all the way from Dubai all the way to Snow, 7 hours drive, to attend the funeral. And then from there, he went all the way to Suwaiq again, 3 hours drive, to attend a wedding.
MashaAllah.
So you can see the commitment of this guy towards social obligations.
Yeah.
I won't do that. To me personally, I would never do that.
Yeah, neither would I.
Yeah, it's not. See, it's not your top priority. It's not my top priority. But this guy, he has the energy, he has the time, he has the money,
and it's important to him.
Yeah, it's exactly. So he would do that. So which area of your life that you feel that you're disciplined in, that you feel that if you have an objective in, you'll go ahead and do it. So again, just to recap: so time, energy, money, thoughts, what you love to talk about, and discipline.
So all of that, by answering, I will know what is important to me.
Exactly.
My thoughts, how I spend my time, what I think about the most, how I spend my money.
Money and energy as well.
Money and energy. Thank you so much, Mutassem, for sharing that with us. I hope many of you, I really admit that's really profound. Even when he was asking me the questions, I'm trying to answer in my head. I'm thinking, I don't know the answer to that. So it's something I would love to do. Although I think we each kind of know what what is important to us. But when you ask these kind of really profound questions, it gets you to think. And usually we're very easy to think of negative things, but when it comes to positive or looking into us on things that we might have the potential, or it's a bit more challenging. Just to quickly go through the list that I have on how you can be an inspiration is to lead by example. Don't do lead by example. For me is let's take the example of being a parent. You recently became a parent. The way we are is a reflection of what our children will be like. So as parents, even if you think, okay, I can't be an inspiration, the fact that you're a parent, you're already an inspiration. They're already these little children looking up to you thinking, I want to be like Baba, I want to be like Mama. So there's that. Important is when you want to inspire is to be very clear in your message and simplify. If you put too many, make it too complicated, you can't expect people to understand where you're coming from. Just a reminder that we have nearly only 9 minutes on the show, even 8, but you're more than welcome to join us if you have any feedback or you want to contribute to this show by calling 2460 2058, 2460 2058. Another really important thing is when you want to inspire, you have to be authentic, as you said, but you also have to be willing to share your successes as well as your failures. And I think many people will be adamant of sharing their failures because it will show maybe a sign of weakness. But to me, when you share, when you are raw, it shows that you're just human, just like me. And in that, I find my inspiration that you've shared a very personal part of your life. And that is because you are authentic. You're able to do that. So it's all about authenticity at the end of the day.
It goes back to that, yeah. It's one of the fundamentals.
And to be truthful as well, be honest and keep your promises. There's no point in saying that you're going to do something if you don't do it. Because you need to have that kind of... people that should be able to relate to you. And if you are not truthful, there's no way people will trust you. And you need to gain their trust in order to be an inspiration. And then... everything that you need to inspire everyone is already within you. But you just have to realize
exactly
that potential. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Oman FM present Ramadan Bonanza. Join June and the team on the nation station Oman FM every evening
8 o'clock to 9 p.m. at Muscat City Center.
Lots of prizes and surprises await you. Come along and be a winner. Ramadan Bonanza.
Love your life. Welcome back to your nation station. This is Mayya Al Said, your host, also known as the Sewist on social media. Today on Love Your Life, we're discussing how to be an inspiration or be an inspiration. And I have my guest with me, Mutassem Sharji. So before the break, before I start on with that, just a reminder that you're more than welcome to call me and be part of our discussion on 2460 2058, 2460 2058. So before the break, I was talking about how you can be an inspiration. I did my list, and now I'm giving the mic over to my guest, Mutassem, to share what he has.
Okay, I'll just share a quick one. A part of this is based on the book The Element by Ken Robinson.
Okay.
Basically, in that book, he shares the idea of two things. If they intersect, that's where the people or human beings would be functioning within their element, and that is passion and talent.
Okay.
So knowing one's talent, what area are you really talented in, and that takes first of all exposure and possibly time. Some people are lucky to find it at a young age, but to others they just have to keep on looking for it. And then once they discover the talent, they should continue practicing in it. I mean, having talent only is not enough. It's actually have to continue practicing in it. Muhammad Ali was a talented boxer, but without practice, he wouldn't have been Muhammad Ali as he is.
I think one of the things that this current generation suffers, there's so many distractions. They can't seem to focus on one thing. They want to do this, and then they jump, there's something else I can do. You need to focus. And I think as well, as a parent, we need to be able to help our children. Yes, let them try different things, but then let them focus on one and inshallah excel in that.
Exactly. With talent, if it's only talent but there's no passion in it, that's not the element yet.
Yes.
So after the talent comes the passion.
And it has to be it has to be the passion of the person doing it, not like, my son, I'd really love you to be a blah blah blah.
No.
It has to be within the person.
Yes. We have one of the kids, I mean, I didn't mention this, but I'm a karate coach as well.
He's a lot of things. He's a public speaker. What else are you? He's a social entrepreneur. And he's a karate coach. The question I asked him is, what aren't you, mashallah?
Okay, just to share this really quick. We had a kid who came to our class 8 months ago.
Okay.
And he's still a beginner in karate. Last competition we had before Ramadan, it was at the level of the whole of Oman.
Okay.
And he competed with kids who are black belts.
MashaAllah.
And he was able to win. He got the first place. And he's only 8 months. The reason behind that is because he came in with talent and passion. He had it. We saw it in him. And I told my colleague Mansour, who's a coach as well, I told him, this kid, if we focus on him, we can get him to become a Oman champion. And he did it.
MashaAllah. See,
within 8 months.
That goes to show talent and passion is really the success.
One additional element on this is to have a purpose, to have a cause, to have a mission.
Okay.
So passion, talent, and mission. People like Bruce Lee, like Muhammad Ali, like Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, all of those individuals, great individuals. If you notice, you see that they had a mission, they had a message they wanted to share, and that's what made them stand apart from the others. Yeah.
MashaAllah, if this is one thing that you need to take from this show, is you need to have talent, which accompanies with passion.
And having a cause, a purpose.
So before I end this show, I would just like to say just a quote, and then I'd like Mutassem just to share a last message with our readers, our listeners. So if you're really thinking of how can I inspire, or something like that, one of my favorite quotes I came across is, I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, because of you, I didn't give up. So you be that for somebody, in whatever area it is. So Mutassem, just your last message to our listeners.
I think being an inspiration, you have to be inspired first.
Which comes from within.
Exactly. And the last point is, just to keep in mind, is that aspiration comes before inspiration.
Okay.
Even in the dictionary.
Yeah, because of the A and
exactly,
the I.
Yes. So what do you aspire towards? What's your aspiration?
What's my aspiration?
Yes, that's something to think of.
Another thing is, you've given me a lot to think of. Huh? MashaAllah. Thank you so much, Mutassem, for your time.
You're most
welcome. I am honored to have you, and I look forward to having you on other episodes, inshallah, of Love Your Life.
My pleasure and duty.
Thank you so much, and for listening, for your calls. From all of us in the studio, Frank, Mutassem, and I, we wish you a good day. Ma'a salama. Love Your Life. Love Your Life. Love Your Life, a show like no other, one that aims to inspire you to live a life you love. Choosing to be positive and having a grateful attitude is going to determine how you're going to live your life. Love yourself. Love your day. Love your life.
Love Your Life, prepared and presented by Sayyida Mayya Al Said.
Initialize sequence now.
Join Oman Radio's big time giveaway.